beautiful now until ready for takeoff. There.
And in a few months, it's second nature. I hope.
Well, as a matter of fact, it'll come to you pretty fast. But don't count too much on that second nature stuff. Count on this. The checklist doesn't skip anything. You might, even after 1,000 hours.
I'll buy in every time.
Roger.
And when you leave the ground, the path of the relative wind changes, so that the angle of attack actually decreases. You get maybe another 4 degrees of safety, and you haven't a care in the world. Now let's dig a little deeper. Think of the forces at work when you take off as a team of little guys who are in there working for or against you all the time. For instance, gross weight of the airplane. On the ground, he bears down hard on the landing gear. When we're ready to start the takeoff run, you'll meet a pal of his, wheel drag. The harder gross weight bears down on the wheels, the bigger and stronger wheel drag gets. That's definitely not good, especially if your runway's soft or slushy. Think of lift as a kind of muscle man working from the wings, pulling up gross weight. Speed makes him pull harder. An increase in the angle of attack also makes him pull harder. Get the relationship between lift, weight on wheels, and wheel drag. The more lift, the less weight on wheels. Less weight on wheels, smaller wheel drag. Then, of course, there's thrust. He's your power. And aerodynamic drag. He's with you all the time, except when you're parked on the ground. Now, let's try to visualize what happens on a 2-point takeoff. At the start of the run, lift increases steadily. Lift takes more and more weight off the wheels. Taking weight off the wheels steadily reduces wheel drag. Then, just when things are looking good, you lift the tail. Angle of attack decreases. That cuts down lift. Lift lets weight go back down on the wheels, and wheel drag increases again. Aerodynamic drag is cut a little, but not enough to compensate for the extra wheel drag. Speed still won't build up as fast as it would with the tail down. Even on a smooth runway, you'll need more room and maybe 20 or 30 miles an hour more speed to get off than if you'd kept your tail down. If the runway's messed up with mud or slush or water, maybe you won't get off at all in the space you have. But keep the tail down. Take advantage of the 3-point angle of attack, and lift goes to work on gross weight right away. Wheel drag gets smaller and smaller. You'll be airborne at maybe 100 miles an hour, and without using up all your runway. And that's something to remember when you're lined up on a nice homemade strip in the jungle, with mud underneath you and trees dead ahead.
Well, how do you like her? Try a little problem when you get over the field. Say you're coming in after a long mission, you're a little short on gas, and when you arrive, the field's closed in.
Beeline for an alternate base.
No, Sal, you're the hell and gone from nowhere. You're lucky to have one base to come home to.
I'll cut the inboards and hang around until she opens up.
Well, you're to hover all right, but don't cut the inboards. She'll burn more coal on 2 than she will on 4 on long-range settings. Think it over. All right, here we are. Granite stuff straight as below, up to, say, 2,000. Don't know when we'll be able to find a hole in it. Instrument letdown's out. What are you going to do? Don't you like it up here?
Like it better down a bit if I'm low on fuel. Need less power and less fuel for a given indicated airspeed. Air's not so thin. Crops take fewer horses.
Okay, that's part of it.
When you get down to 8,000, you give the command for carburetor filters on, and you finally level off at around 500 feet above your theoretical overcast.
When you level off above the overcast, the idea is to keep from going places. Now, that's simple. Cut your speed down to 120, even if you have to reduce your RPM to 1250 to get it. Try it first with 1400 RPM. All right, reduce manifold pressure. Try with 26 inches.
Jettison the Bombardier?
No, your weight's all right. You've used up most of your gas on the way home, and I hope you didn't bring any bombs back. Cut your RPM down a little more. 1250 is the minimum. With this hovering maneuver, fuel consumption's cut down to about 95 gallons an hour. At the end of a mission, you'll have a light load, so it's absolutely safe. Keep your banks at a 10-degree angle and just sit it out.
Regular helicopter.
Time to go in, then. Landing instructions from the tower, weather, altimeter setting, and back to work again.
When you're ready for a landing, be sure your co-pilot runs through the checklist. No matter how good you are, flying means fatigue, and fatigue does things to your memory. So if you want to bring in this property without an insurance claim, have everything checked in order. Altimeter, okay. Crew positions. Automatic pilot, off.
Crew members at their proper stations. Side guns stowed. Ball turret guns up and pointing rear.
Booster pumps on. Your power plant should be ready for full takeoff power in case a go-round is necessary. Mixture's auto-rich, intercooler's cold, carburetor filter's on, wing de-icer's off. That's important. Wing de-icer operation changes the stalling characteristics of the airplane. Golden Tower, this is 641 on downwind leg, over.
641 on downwind leg, cleared to land, wheels down, over.
Roger.
Landing gear down. Down left.
Down right. Tail wheel down, trailing antenna in. Check brake and hydraulic pressure.
Brakes okay. Pressure around 750.
RPM 2100. Turbos set. Now we have power immediately available for a go-round if we need it. Flaps should be lowered on the downwind leg, but not until airspeed's below 147. 1/3 flaps on the downwing leg, full flaps on final approach. And if you have to go around, you don't need to milk up your flaps. They'll come up slowly enough.
You hold airspeed at 130 indicated on the base leg of the pattern. Then, in a matter of seconds, you make your bank into the final approach.
Full flaps. High RPM.
120. 115. Don't close your throttles until you're sure of a landing. 112. 110. Freezer on. Hydraulic pressure's okay. Otherwise, you'd gunner and take off again. Cowl flaps open and locked. Turbos off. Booster pumps off. Wing flaps up. Get them up sooner if you have a muddy runway. Tail wheel unlocked. Generators.
Generators off.
Cutting the inboard engines is the co-pilot's duty normally. The pilot should keep his mind on his taxiing. But it's quiet on the hangar apron today, and the instructor asks you to do it. Good thing, too, since you weren't too sharp about it.
You can cut your inboards now. Check turbos off first. You need engine oil pressure to open the wastegates. No. Rev them up to 1,000 before you cut them.
Parking brakes?
No, hold it until the chocks are in. If you set your brakes on hot drums, you'll bake the expander tubes. Don't turn off the ignition until the engines have stopped turning over. Alden Tower, this is 641. Mission complete. See that all other switches are off before turning off the batteries and the main line.
Booster pumps off. Landing gear, wing flaps, neutral. De-icer, anti-icer off. Inverters?
Inverters off only when the instruments have returned to neutral.
Inverters off. Batteries off. Main line off.
Lock control surfaces. That's that, except for the bookwork. Just give them the facts. One more thing. Record the time of day and number of minutes of oil dilution if you were diluting in this. Well, how do you feel?
Okay, I feel great.
Remember, it's just another airplane. It's a little bigger than most. But the fact that you're flying her means that you've moved into the big time. And the payoff is it's the safest crate you ever flew.